What's up, everyone, and welcome back to Rob's Gaming Table. Today on the table we have another Game of Thrones, a card game, 2nd edition video for you. Brought to you by these people that support the channel at patreon.com/Rob's Gaming Table. Thank you so much for the support. You can support the channel by clicking the link in the description below. In this one we have Adamo playing Martell Wars to Come against Michael playing Tyrell Wars to Come, sorry. Continues to be a theme of this tournament is wars, wars, wars. Wars to come is the agenda. That is what everyone is playing, especially at these top tables I was recording. We are in the top 8 now. This is the second game from the top 8. We have 2 top 4 games coming up and the final, so make sure you subscribe and stay tuned for that. We have the alarm bell button beside the subscribe button, and you'll be notified as soon as it goes up so you don't miss it. And you can check out all the games before this from the Swiss and the other top 8 game and the other tournaments and board game playthroughs and whatnot at Rob's Gaming Table on YouTube under the playlist section. So for setups here, we have a core set Knight of Flowers. Looks like we have Wright and a Great Hall on the Tyrell side of things. On the other side, we got a Duped Dorn. And it looks like a Water Gardens and a Dornish Fiefdom. So a good setup on the Martell side, location-wise. It also is protected from a first turn Nothing Burns Like the Cold, since he has that extra Water Gardens out there, which is non-limited, and can take the hit to protect that Dorn. That is where the meta has gone. At people setting up big locations, 4 cost, 3 cost, whatever, put them out on setup, thinking they're ballers, and everyone's running this Nothing Burns Like the Cold to kind of like a march to the wall for locations, basically, is what it's come to. Same way, you know, back in the day, people setting up Tywin or, you know, a 7-coster by themselves. It's march to the walls everywhere to keep people honest. But Nothing Burns Like the Cold's also kind of filled that role for locations. So we had Doran's Behest there, flipped into a long plan after seeing a Time of Plenty flipped on the Tyrell side. They're both going to draw an extra card in the draw phase. And the Martell player, every time he loses a challenge, he can trigger the reaction off his plot if he chooses and gain an extra gold. We're just going to help him set up his next round. He now has 1 plot in the used pile, so he's obviously going with that theme here. But I mean, even if you're not going with the used plot pile business, Doran's Behest, opening round, being able to see what your opponent flips. And if you're running like Naval Superiority or Summer Harvest, you know, or Varys Riddle, something like that that's like a very big gamble flipping, you can kind of safely see what's up on your opponent's side and choose your plot based on that. So I think that's very clever and I think a good choice to go with. Definitely not winning initiative, though. That's the only downside. All right, so Martell player going first, obviously. Who do we got there?
Same concept. Yeah.
We got 2 Desert Scavengers. He put out a Rose Road. I'm just not sure which character that is on the Martell side. I'll find out in a second here. But we have seen Adamo before in a previous match, and he was running this Martell deck with a lot of Sand Snake theme, so my gut is telling me that it's probably another Sand Snake coming from the Sun box, maybe. So it looks like it's over the Tyrell player for marshalling. He's got a Great Hall there and 6 gold to work with. It's another copy of Obara Sand. I have not played with this one yet, I don't think. It's 5 cost. Obviously, military power, you can see there on the screen. 4 strength, unique, bastard, and a Sand Snake. She's loyal. Challenge actions. Return a Sand Snake character to your hand to put a Martell character with lower printed costs into play from your hand. So more of that like Arion Martell out of your hand theme bouncing business. Spoiled a card on the channel. It's like basically an event that did the same, similar idea, but you had to lose a challenge first. All right, Milk of the Poppy on Obara. I don't know if that was the character in the deck you want to use that milk on, but for now, Michael seems afraid of that ability and doesn't want it affecting his game plan here, so we use Milk of the Poppy to blanket. He also has left and right now assembled, and the Arbor going forward to help boost his economy. So he's got a little defensive wall set up and some econ. So he's ready to go the long game here. But the Martell deck isn't usually too aggressive, I would assume. But this, like I said, the Sand Snake version could be a little different. So we got a military here with the Knight of Flowers. Looks like the Martell player passed on challenges. So Knight of Flowers is coming in alone. So you can only defend with one character.
Trigger.
Long play and trigger there on the loss. The unopposed is blocked by Obara. Doran triggered. Knight of Flowers guys are renowned a little bit in advance there. We haven't done claim, but players don't seem too fussy about it. And claim is going to be a Desert Scavenger, of course. So I'm sure Michael, after seeing all that the Martell player just earned off that loss, he may slow down here and not bother drilling challenges in. It's a little frustrating. You try doing intrigue, yeah, they'll draw a new card with Dorn, and then you intrigue one, but like, it's just annoying. It's kind of like nothing actually happened for them. Although you can gain unopposed power in some cases and speed up, but in this case, long play being out, they're also getting gold. So Michael passes the Tyrell player and just takes dominance, plays a little slow and a little safe, which I don't think is a bad strategy. As long as he can win before his opponent wins off some Doran's game triggers and gets like 7 power off an intrigue challenge.
There's like a gazillion reruns. It's on Netflix, isn't it? Yeah, I wouldn't be surprised. No Soup for You? The Soup Nazi? So many episodes.
Oh yeah, I've heard it. Actually,
Yeah, it's popular.
yeah, it's pretty famous.
I think I've only watched 6 episodes of Seinfeld, and that's one of them.
Discussion of Seinfeld off the side here. I think somebody, maybe Justin, my buddy, used the "no soup for you," which you guys heard me on the commentary. I've used my own spin on that saying from Seinfeld, the Soup Nazi episode. But some of the guys up here in the Quebec area didn't seem familiar with it. Basically, a hand's judgment is basically, the equivalent of a no soup for you. Time of plenty into first snow of winter. So that's a good way to get left and right out of play, assuming that we don't have dupes marshaled onto them here in this round. Time of plenty, you get again from the Tyrell player, favorite second plot here. He always opens the time of plenty, it seems, in this tournament, and then follows it up with second round doing it again, assuming everything is hunky-dory. But it's decent gold and just, get more card options in front of him. The only downside here is it's giving his opponent cards also, and it allows him to get the cards he needs for his game plan to speed up his draw. It's summer, it's safe. Not a bad plot to play in my opinion. But he's got to get some 4 cost or higher guys on the board here to not leave the Knight of Flowers alone after this first snow. Looking over the Martell player, he only has a gold save last turn from long play. He has 3 gold from the plot and 1 from a Rose Road. And he's got 2 in the used pile, so Water Gardens can help with a non-character card. He's got Dornish Fiefdoms, give him a couple gold. But I mean, he could probably get a couple guys on the board, but maybe he doesn't care about that. But he doesn't want to leave Obara alone, I'm sure. So he just nails his Dornish Fiefdoms to get gold there between actions. After we see a Redwind Straits put down there, more future economy for the Tyrell player. And we got Brianna Tarth brought out there off the Great Hall. Looks like 3 gold remaining.
I'm done marshalling.
And he's going to sit on the 3 gold for some safe ambush plays after first snow. Makes sense. Keep your character safe. You never know with Martell removing icons. You could have Knight of Flowers and Brienne without militaries, or one of them, and then the other side ends up killing one of them. But if he plays it safe, bombs in a High Tower Spy or a Old Town Informer, you can have something for at least claim soak. Alright, Martell player marshalling here, going second, of course. Desert Scavenger knelt down to bring in Arion Martell. Time for some tricks. Let's play the game on who will Arion bring into play. So we got a Green Blood Trader brought in here to get some more card draw going. I remember getting into second edition, at the beginning, and I was a Martell guy in first edition, and tried out Martell in second edition at the beginning, and I was like, man, they just don't have enough draw. And their econ's not the greatest either. And here we are. They got tons of money, and yeah, their draw is all right, especially with Dorn. Dorn is like the key, but it's a 4-cost location. It's a little tough, but
One you chose.
such a different spot now where Martell players are sitting there with, you know, full hands of cards all the time.
Okay. And that's all. Back.
So first snow, great use of those green blood traders coming in, triggering their abilities. Now they're back in hand. You can do it again in the future.
10. We're both discarding a lot. Yep.
So the only problem is, I guess Arion can get some claim fodder on the board. But yeah, just looking. Usually after first snow, I automatically start looking at military icons on the board. You know, you're slimmed down to just your big dudes, and you gotta start getting worried. Like I might lose a big dude. So you know, you gotta start thinking about military icons are important after first snow. Is really what I'm trying to get at here.
So, challenge, right?
So Tyrell player going first. Is he gonna just bomb them both in on a military challenge? And you know he's hiding an ambush character in hand if so.
Okay.
He's going to do it safely here with the Knight of Flowers. Could be fully defended if Arion jumps out of play and brings that military icon into play, and you could have Obara and that other character blocking fully. But then again, High Tower Spy is a thing, and it will come in and probably buff the Knight of Flowers' strength is my prediction. So Obara just blocks the unopposed.
Hold on. Sure. I got an action.
Oh, we have an action here after defenders are declared. Arion gets a Nightmares. She is not going anywhere. So either Obara dies or Arion dies in this situation. He's pinned them, but he's going to trigger Dorn first.
I thought about Nightmare Dorn, but then I was like, I just gotta discard it. Okay.
So Obara dies. Milk of Poppy falls off, goes in the opponent's discard pile, of course. Now we have Arion out there alone. And no text. Obviously wasn't sitting on a his Viper's Eyes there. So one thing about this store, BD Cosmos in Laval, Quebec, every year in the evening, the sun lowers down and they have giant windows. We're playing upstairs on the second floor. And the sun just barrels in. You can see it across the mat there and ends up blinding one of the players. Basically anywhere you sit in the store, the people on the one side of the table get blinded. We try to stand beside the table and block it, but it's kind of annoying. So my recommendation is if anyone from BD Cosmos is watching this, invest in some blinds. Yeah, invest in some blinds. Run a Kickstarter or a GoFundMe, and you know get the players who play there regularly to donate some money and yeah, get some blinds. So people playing in the evening for that hour, 2 hours where the sun is coming through the window doesn't ruin their gaming experience here. Hey, I can really see it across the camera. So it was during the cut though. Every year it's a tradition for like the last 5 or 6 years. I've been putting videos up. Yeah, we'll see the sun coming through at the cut.
Unopposed. Just, you got nothing to claim.
So we got an unopposed power coming through here from Brienne of Tarth. She gets a renown. Looks like an intrigue went through there from the High Tower spot, or the Old Town Informer, which was blocked by Arion.
Reserve 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12.
So 12 cards. And 6 reserve on the Martell side. So he's going to dump half of his hand, 6 cards, into his discard pile here.
I gotta discard 1. I'll discard Old Town. These 5. Wait a minute. Whoops. Show me where you're discarding. Yep, these 5. Flea bottom targets. Yep.
That's the classic play. Taxation, if you're a deck playing flea bottom, you have a bunch of weenies, just throw them in your discard pile. You know, put in some options in there so when you're doing flea bottom later. Shadow City Bastard, it was a nice call.
And I'm within reserve.
Works great against 5-costers to remove their icons. If only there were some 5-costers across the board you could take icons from that have renown. Just needs to get Flea Bottom on the board here, and he can cycle that.
At least it's more of a manageable board this time. I'm just glad you haven't gotten your bastard daughters. Yeah. Such a thorn on my side. They're my henchmen. These plots.
So 30 players, 5 rounds of Swiss we had, and here we are in the top 8. And very interestingly, this Martell Wars to Come deck is not, I don't think is a standard. It's definitely more Sand Snake focused. But it's interesting that it did make the cut. There wasn't, I don't think there's too many Martell players. I can't remember off the top of my head, but yeah, it's pretty cool seeing Adamo make it here with a more interesting flavored Martell Wars deck with the heavy Sand Snake focus. We saw in his last game, he had Harmon Euler and Nymeria, of course. Bunch of bastard daughters. And like Lorenza and Doria Sand and all the Sand Snakes. Alright, we got King in the North, which basically says F you to Martell. And we have a trade routes. So quite a few locations out there. So Adamo, the Martell player, is going to rake in the gold here off the trade routes. But neither character has a king that I can see. But I'm sure the Tyrell player is sitting on Renly in hand or a Crown of Golden Roses that he will just slap into play here and not even worry about it. Especially when he's got 5 gold on the plot and 5 golden bonuses at the bottom that he can just pay for the guy straight up and then start triggering Great Hall and whatnot after that, or get his crown out very easily. So Tyrell player is first at the choice of the Martell player. He's got 10 gold to work with here, and once he gets king down, if he has one, he's going to have a Great Hall also to help out. And there he is, Renly, straight up 7 gold, and he's in play, now has a king, and he can trigger his characters, locations, and attachments. No problem. But on the other side, no Dornish Fiefdoms trigger, no Water Gardens trigger, no Blood Orange Grove triggers, no Doran's triggers. He can obviously trigger the trade routes plot. Plots are immune, so are events.
Oh yeah, you're right. You're right. Now I put it. Yep. That's a good. Yeah. I was like, okay, you can do whatever you want. It won't change it.
So we played a Rose Garden. So with Renly on the board now having a king, Brienne there doesn't kneel as a defender. And it's just coming together for the Tyrell player. Now it's High Tower on the board. But no trigger here in the marshalling. There he is. Harmon Euler is just talking about that guy. It's going to give the Sand Snakes in the hand of Adamo there ambush, and their ambush cost is actually 1 less than their printed strength. Or printed cost, sorry, printed cost.
So this is the match that's already been played. Yeah, that's cool.
So Flea Bottom. And he's going to save 4 gold. So he could have some Sand Snakes in hand, because obviously has targets in Flea Bottom, 4 Flea Bottom, sorry, from the discard pile. So saving money is not an issue for the Martell player. It's too bad he didn't have more of it. But then again, he can't trigger Flea Bottom, so I don't know why I'm mentioning that right now. King in the North. King in the North is on the board. But he can ambush characters in. They just can't do their fun tricks if they have text that helps them with ambush or abilities in play.
Can't trigger that.
Can't trigger Arion. This is not looking good. But hopefully Arion and Harmon will stay alive and he can ambush in a Sand Snake to take the hit for claim. Military claim at least. So I don't know, if I was a Tyrell player, I'd probably start with an intrigue.
It sucks, but
With King Renly there. Depends what's in your hand though, if you want to save Renly back to protect it. Gotta be careful though, I guess. I'm not sure what could be ambushed and what the strengths of them are. But you might have to throw in the Old Town Informer if you think Arion's force strength plus another ambushable character could beat it out. So he's gonna start with military, and that scares out the claim soak if it's there, to then lessen the amount of money in the options that could be could handle the other challenges. Only one defender can be declared because Night Flowers is attacking alone. So right now Harmon can't stop it. And we have a, what is it, Maiden of Poisons or Bastard of Poisons or something like that. Who's going to come in off of Harmon Euler's ambush. No defenders. And of course that was the claim soak, and we have Night of Flowers getting a ran out off that.
I love that it's not an action. Beautiful.
So we have an intrigue here coming with Renly. 6 strength.
Spend one.
Just going to spend 1 to bring out Lorenza. I think that's who it is.
Yeah, let's oppose it.
And she'll just block the unopposed. Claim is a Venomous Blade.
I win? Yep. Reno. Insight. Yeah. I already got 6 cards. It's an optional keyword. Yeah, exactly.
So it looks like the Tyrell player likes his cards. He was debating not using Insight there. Doesn't want to have to discard extras for taxation. So he draws 1, but he's not triggering off the loyal.
Only if I want to draw the second one. Exactly. Even if it's
I think it might have been loyal, but he doesn't want to do it.
not to show it. Let's say I want to keep it secret. Exactly. Because it's a reaction. I'm not required to trigger it. Okay. I'm done with challenges. You're done with challenges. Okay. Power?
And a power challenge with Arion and Harmon Euler coming in here from the Martell side of things. Just going to slow this game down. He's got to steal some power from his opponent.
I win it. Power, claim, and renown. And you win dominance.
So Martell player now at 2. And after dominance, the Tyrell player looks like he's going to be at 7.
And we stand. Yeah, at least I
A
don't
lot of power on characters. And there may be a plot called, I don't know, it's a plot some people play. It's called Valar Morghulis. I don't know if you've heard of it, but if the Martell player has it, it wouldn't be a bad thing, I don't think, to kill those characters on the board. I mean, there's no Mace and Large Marge, but I mean,
starting to blind me a
I guess Knight of Flowers and Brienne are probably one-ofs, but hitting Renly's not a bad call. It will set him back 4 power. But then again, you get that econ base of Arbor, Redwind Straits, a Rose Garden, and you have a great haul. And before you know it, you'll have the board have some big dudes back on the board and some ambushable characters ready to go. And the Tyrell player will probably recover no problem since he has a full hand of cards. He's got High Tower out there to give him more gold and more card draw. So he's in a good place right now, set up for recovery from a reset without issue, in my opinion. Depending on what's in hand, though, too. But
Rich man. Well, almost got rich.
also Velardo Harris, as the board gets bigger on the Tyrell side, could set him back a bit by knocking some of those characters with renown out of there. But you can't wait too long, because before you know it, they'll be able to rack up so much renown in a turn that they'll close it out. He's already basically halfway to the win right here. We got pulling the strings into...
First of all, you go first.
Looks like Breaking Ties, another way to get those renowned bodies off the board, especially Brienne and Knight of Flowers. We have Lorenza on the board as the Loyal on the other side is able to sack her. He's probably got some others he can marshal in or flea bottom in from his discard pile. Now the King of the North is gone. So he's usually pulling the strings here to trigger trade routes.
Another 10 gold.
So he basically has unlimited money here.
You want to use my bearer tokens?
Yeah, they're digging out extra tokens here. It's gotten that crazy.
Showing his swag. Okay.
So 11 gold off of locations from trade routes is what I'm counting here. Plus the Tyrell player just gets 10 gold straight up, not including Rose Gardens and High Towers and High Tower money and Great Hall.
My God. 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10.
So 21 gold plus reduction off of some of those locations. I think the Martell player won initiative there and chose the Tyrell player to go first.
This would be fun to play loose. Oh my God, like 20 cards gone already. Oh. The combo is about to begin.
So for 1 gold and the reduction off of the Rose Garden, he gets, looks like right out there. And triggers High Tower off that to draw a card and get a gold. Puts a dupe on him. Old Town's in play now. Does he have a Scheming Septon to get that baloney going? He's going to name character. He doesn't have something obvious. He gets Garland, though. 6 cost Garland. Draws him into hand, gains a power. I can throw Garland down on the board if he wants. Definitely has the money for another 6-coster.
It's called not overcommitting your board into a Valor.
But yeah, he does have to think about Valar Morghulis or Velardo Harris. He realizes that. So he's got to save back a nice hand of cards, thinking about what he wants to play out next round.
You want to be free.
Assuming a reset hit. That's why he went with the right there, to get the dupe out on him. And locations seem like the smart play. But then again, if you're worried about political disaster. But I don't think you would be when you look at the Martell player's board. I don't think he's running political disaster, or if he is, he doesn't plan on playing it anytime soon.
It was not necessary for me to play pulling the strings. So you're just going to keep your dominant stick right there?
Yeah, I don't know. Yeah, he's not sure why he played pulling the strings there. I don't know if he had any other options besides trade routes. But he's definitely, I think, got dominance on lock this round.
Reasonable. And it's pretty reasonable for me to expect that you're playing power. That's a fair assumption.
So we have a dupe on the Water Gardens for the Martell player. And we have a Green Blood Trader marshaled in there. Which we know those were back in hand after the first snow of winter.
your plots is a naval. I'm still waiting to see it. 1, 2. Do this.
And he puts a Orphan of the Green Blood. Bestows it for 1. Spends the bestow right away to put the Green Blood Trader back in hand. He's really digging here. He needs something. He is looking for something to get him out of this jam. Out of all the card draw, all the Green Blood Traders still going. Still digging.
I've never had this happen before.
And he sits on 1 gold.
All that gold? Oh, it's wonderful.
Yeah, I think it was a goofy choice to play this plot.
Dominant stick. Oh, hail the king.
I haven't played that well actually today.
Oh, I didn't play that well. Plays 5-0.
Oh, why? Trust me, watch a video. I make some goofy.
Michael's talking about he hasn't played that well all day. He was King of Swiss, went 5-0. He's here in the top 8. He did say he made some goof ups on video, and you can see them. But everyone does. We all do. I make goofs in every game I play of Game of Thrones. That's for sure. It's definitely a pretty heavy game. Lots of decision trees. Yeah, you'll goof up. Huge card pool now. It's lots of lines of play. You'll goof up.
Might as well just kill her off.
And you'd be surprised. A lot of us that play this game, we're not full-time Game of Thrones players. A lot of us have families, jobs, friends, real life, other hobbies. So to pay attention to all this stuff and keep on top of it is a pretty tall task, in my opinion. So you just got to come at it, take some fun, and don't be too hard on yourself if you goof up. And we can all learn from each other's mistakes on these videos. That's part of the reason they're here. So thanks to Michael for playing and being honest and admitting and showing you guys out there. You can make the top 8 even if you make some mistakes. It happens. So don't be too hard on yourself. Learn from it. And yeah.
Yeah, that's how discard.
Discard? Let me see what's in your discard.
And that's Rob's learning moment.
No gold.
Cue silly music.
The venomous blaze.
Oh, pretty much almost everything.
So he's looking through the discard pile here, trying to see what can come in from the flea bottom. Saw the Venomous Blade there kill the Old Town Informer. It's hanging on Ariane there, giving her a +1 strength. Ariane's a great target for a Venomous Blade since she can jump back to hand, get that Venomous Blade back in hand to be ambushed out in the future or marshaled out in the future.
Strength is pumped up on Ariane.
How many cards got?
1, 2, 3, 4. I'm good for reserve so far.
So he's got a Green Blood Trader out there and a Lorenza Sand, who are both loyal and are able to send
This is good for me.
Knight of Flowers or Brianna Tarth back to hand. I don't think you would do right, but it is a way to get a dupe off if you're trying to set up a Valar Morghulis. Wouldn't be the worst thing in the world to hit him and try to shake off that duplicate. And then again, if you're trying to set up a Valar Morghulis, do you really want to put Knight of Flowers or Brienne back in hand, or you just want to leave him out and play?
Bring her back to your hand.
But he is going to do it to the Knight of Flowers. Green Blood Trader getting sacked to send him back to hand.
That's always a good turn.
Basically sets him back at least 2 power. If he would have won again, he would have got another renown on him. So kind of sets him back at least 3. If it was a non-opposed military also, if you look at it, could have slowed him down about 4 power there by doing that. It's not a bad call, I think.
Yeah. That's why I was happy when I saw that.
I think Michael's realizing, the Tyrell player, he just said this turn's going to hurt. He'll be down to just Renly on the board and right. So that could set up a juicy march to the wall. Not too juicy, I mean, you'll just get rid of right, but he'll be back to just having Renly on the board in that case. But again, look at that cash. He's got tons of it there. He can ambush in other characters here in this phase, no problem. If he has them, or if he wants to.
It's still a rough game for both of us, though. No clear advantage yet.
Military with left, with right.
Military?
So military coming in now. So I guess it was power before. We got a military coming in with right for 2 strength. 2 strength. I think you just block with Harmony. But then again, he may have his Viper's Eyes in hand or something he wants to lose for some reason. Could have a Sand Snake, a Bastard Otter you can ambush in there with that 1 gold. Or Flea Bottom. So we got Flea Bottom happening here. So Green Blood Trader coming into play. Trigger on the draw. And then he can use her for Breaking Ties in the future if he wants.
First, you know.
So I'm not sure what it is he's trying to set up, but I remember in the last game he was trying to get a certain number of Sand Snakes on the board, so that's maybe why he's afraid to kill Lorenza right now and draw a card off of her, and why he's brought the Green Blood Trader into play to kill her instead, I think. I'm sure there's a card you guys know of. Maybe it's a character that benefits off having all the Sand Snakes in play, or like extra Sand Snakes. So he kills the Orphan of the Green Blood, which makes sense. No more gold on it. It's kind of useless. And that goes unopposed. So the Tyrell player getting another power on his house card. They're up to 5 on the house card, 2 on his characters. So he's obviously at 7. Martell player at 2.
It's too late. Never mind. Yeah, it's fine. Cards for reserve anyway. It's important.
Yeah, it looks like he forgot a Dorn trigger there. He's just bringing it up. But he has extra cards beyond reserve. He thinks he's okay. I guess he likes the cards in hand. He doesn't want to have to pitch more of them. He's good with what he's got. So maybe he has the pieces he needs. And it looked like he was pretty much desperately digging last turn. So. But he has triggered a lot of green blood traders and some Dorns, so maybe he's got what he needs now. So looks like we're debating on the intrigue here with Renly. I think is what the Tyrell player is debating. He's not sure if he wants to try to save it back and protect his hand. But then again, Ariane's a 5 strength. Lorenza and the green blood trader will add another 3 to that, so they can get past Renly the way it is. But then again, ambush is a thing. So 6 strength intrigue coming in here with Ariane and the green blood trader, which is enough to get by Renly with no strength buffs, but you know Tyrell. He's got the tricks. He's got the ways to buff the strength, I'm sure. If he cares about what's in his hand. Renly is going to block for 6.
Action. Okay. You have a lot of gold, so growing strong.
And we have a growing strong, buffing up all 3 of the Tyrell characters in play for a gold.
So you win that challenge, perfect.
And Renly will... Oh, we got the Dorn trigger now. So yeah, he did just miss it and did want to trigger it, so gets to do it here. So we're down on Renly. Draws a card for Insight. He is going to show his loyal. It is Mace.
He already got the Mace.
And he draws another card. So now the Martell player feels like there may be a clock on this game now that Mace is in hand. And Brianna Tarth goes back to hand also. And a power challenge with Harmony going unopposed. Stealing power, getting a renown. Martell player up to 4 now. Or 5, actually, getting the unopposed, yep. 5 to 6. So still a close game here. Not gotten out of hand. Sending characters back to hand with renown on them is pretty good. And we have Nymeria coming out off Ariane. Stealing a military off Renly.
Hold on. Go ahead, you have actions. Yes. What challenges have you done so far? Intrigue and power.
So I think we may have a possible situation where after Nymeria comes in play, she may be getting a Nightmares. That's why Michael's... Yeah, it is a Nightmares on Nymeria, slowing it down here. He doesn't want that military challenge happening. I think he's worried about taking a dupe off of Right.
But hey, not bad.
So that will lead to a Venomous Blade, I'm sure, next round on Right and killing him.
Okay, so you win dominance.
So dominance goes to the Tyrells, obviously. With the, what has he got there? Like 15 gold still?
4, 5, 6, 21 gold.
That'll never ever happen.
These two. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9.
That's pretty bad. I don't understand why we don't have that.
On discard Varus.
So Varus is chucked for taxation. Interesting. He's not worried about wiping the board now. He's got Mace in hand. He wants to get dudes on the board now and just load them up with power. Is his game plan, I'm sure. He's got Knight of Flowers, Brienne in hand also. He's got to discard down to 6 cards. He had 9 in hand. He's got to get rid of 2 more. Martell player already pitched 2 to get in his reserve.
That's crazy how much gold you had.
I still got to discard 2 more. No problem.
So while we're waiting for the Tyrell player to discard his cards here, make sure you hit that like button on the video. Helps other people find it. Helps the channel grow. Helps me know you like these Game of Thrones videos. So Knight of Flowers is no longer needed. He goes to the discard pile also. And Hand's Judgment.
So we're good on reserve?
Yep.
This was a goofy choice.
You didn't get opposed in dominance.
Yeah, you won dominance, right? Okay.
Hooray!
And it has worth. It has worth.
Nothing's
so
without
pot?
meaning.
Yeah, okay, so pot.
Yep. You ready? Alright. March.
So we got March to the Wall on the Martell side into Wardens of the Reach, or the South, or whatever it is. On the Tyrell side, the other Tyrell plot that gives the +2 strength buff on Tyrell characters if you trigger the reaction after they enter a challenge as an attacker or defender. So March, like I thought, a juicy March there, getting rid of a duped right. So even though he nightmares Nymeria, he's worried about the military challenge, it ended up not mattering in the end. Right, 2 copies of right in the discard pile.
3, 4, plus 5.
So we're down to just Renly on board. But lots of gold on the Tyrell side. He's got those great halls, Rose Gardens. Will he play Mace now? Needs a Mace and some protection, I would think. Some military claim, at least. Lots of characters in hand. You can see now. I just don't know which ones they are. He may have dupes. May have dupes of Renly. May have dupes of Mace. Maybe has Marjorie in hand by now. Can play her out there. Maybe a cheap Lord. And then go search for a Mace. And then dupe him up with the other Mace you have in hand. Unless he's sitting with 2 or 3 Maces in hand. You know, he's got Garland in there. You know, he's got Brienne of Tarth still in there. I think he has left in there also. Because I think he had left and right out earlier. They both went to hand off first snow. He just played right and duped him. Didn't play left. So he has cheap characters he can put out beside his other characters. We got the Dornish Fiefdoms triggered on the other side after the Kneel of the Rose Garden of the Great Hall. We got Mace now in play off the Great Hall in the Rose Garden with the dupe. So he did have 2 Maces in hand. So he's actually going to play just the one, react off High Tower, draw a card, gain a gold,
Always forget this. Okay.
and then he dupes up Mace.
Now I do. Sorry about that.
No problem.
Yeah, you gotta be careful how quickly you put out those dupes. Your opponent could say, especially at a regional or higher, could just be like, nope, you've already passed that action, you got Mace out there, and you duped him. That was your next action. Too late for High Tower. But when you still got like 5 or 6 gold there, you can easily get out another character and trigger it again. And the Scheming Septon, Old Town, little combo there is now in play. So another way to gain some extra power. Does he want to trigger Mace now off of... oh, he did trigger Mace, sorry, already. Off of himself coming into play. Which he also should have done before playing the dupe. But he did that after.
Alright.
All right, we have left. The other one I mentioned was in hand. It is out on the board now. Over to the Martell player for his marshalling.
All the spectators can just form a wall to block off the sunlight.
I'm trying to block as much.
Yeah, they're talking about that sun. I was saying, you got to get those spectators to stand there and block the sun. I was doing it for a while to one of the other games. I was on camera, and yeah, it was really hot on my back. Yeah, I was sweating to death because of it. The things I do for Game of Thrones filming. So surprise, Ariane's back in play. I'm not sure if you've seen that card before, but she's now on the board. Except for every other round this game. But the cycle's going. And she gets Venomous Blade again. And Scheming Septon. Nice shot there. Excellent hit, I think. The only problem is, I think is he in action? He can just bounce him out of play now.
Got an action? Yep. I'll use Mace's ability.
Oh, he's going to blink him with Mace's ability. I forgot that was an option too, yeah. Venomous Blade doesn't work so well when you got Mace on the board. So he doesn't even need the poison tokens he was offered there.
Comes back into play.
So starter challenges, Scheming Septon back in play. I got excited there thinking the Septon was going to die, but yeah, not happening at all. So trigger on Hightower after he comes into play at the start of the phase. Do we have a Maze trigger here too? I guess not. So 3 gold on the Tyrell side, 4 gold on the Martell side.
Do you have any action?
Looks like the Martell player here is going to use Nymeria to steal an icon.
Not yet.
Okay. So my first action, I guess they'll take away Renly's military.
Okay.
So Renly has lost his military icon. Nymeria has gained it.
Screw it, I'm using tokens.
I don't know if he's done that to be aggressive or defensive or both. But now it just leaves left as the only military icon on the board. But he can get a +2 strength buff off the plot on him, so it'll be 4 strength. So you still have to defend with Nymeria and or Harmon. Or end Harmon, yeah, end Harmon. But then again, Flea Bottom is still there. Which I'm surprised he hasn't been bouncing him in and stealing icons from the Shadow City Bastard yet.
Military? That's what I'm talking about.
So military of 2, he hasn't triggered the plot yet.
I might have. Oh. Fully defend this?
So he's going to defend for 8.
Oh, you kneel both?
Yes. I want him to bump up his strength and win this.
Oh, right.
Yeah, so he just realized, Tyrell player realized he forgot to trigger the plot. It's too late for it now, but Adamo's under the assumption that he could still trigger it, so that's why he defended with both. But I mean, they both should have discussed that they had any actions before clearing defenders. Although it is a reaction to him entering the challenge.
Power Renly.
Power with Renly.
And we get Renly coming in on a power challenge. Sounds like no plot trigger.
Strength 8.
Oh yeah, there he is. Strength 8. He triggered the plot that time.
I'll oppose it.
For 5.
And a 5 defense here.
Trigger Dorn.
Trigger on Doran after losing the challenge.
Claim.
Yeah.
Insight. Renown. Insight.
Looks like it may be loyal. He's debating on showing it and triggering the reaction off of Renly. He is going to do it. He's okay with seeing more cards. I think it was an Old Town Informer there.
So
Let's see.
now I might have an action. So you did military and you.
Yeah, I've done military.
So we have 10 power now on the Tyrell side, 5 on the Martell side. 2 gold spent to ambush and Old Town Informer.
I've already done this, but I have not done this.
Doing
So he's going to spend a gold on Mace.
Oh my god.
So Adamo, the Martell player, wanted to take an action on flea bottom, I think. And then Michael said stop. I have an action, so he ambushed. But now Adamo should have an action to be able to ambush in something if he wants to steal icons or do anything like that. But seems like he's changed his mind and not wanting to trigger anything here. Maybe he doesn't care now that he's seen that there are 2 characters now on the board able to do challenges on top of Mace.
Intrigue. Intrigue.
So an intrigue here with the Old Town Informer. Triggers the plot, makes it 4 strength. And now Adamo's looking through his discard pile here for a Shadow City Bastard. Defense for 2, or 1, sorry, defense for 1. Triggers Dorn.
Yes, without taking guess. He's happy now.
Okay.
Gets a copy of the Red Viper. The intimidating Red Viper, I believe it was.
Challenge over to you. Perfect.
Now the Martell player's challenges.
Oh, you use flea bottom to bring it in, right?
Yes.
Do you have a pre-challenge action?
A pre-challenge action? No.
I got a pre-challenge action. I'll activate his ability.
So we have the Scheming Septum being triggered here, getting 2 gold, drawing a card. Putting the Scheming Septum on the top of the deck. He's going to use Old Town now, I'm sure. Unless he doesn't really want to draw the Scheming Septum now. But power is power.
I'll use Old Town.
Yeah, he's going to use it. Name character. Wow, he was right. Gets a power, draws the card. So 12 now on the Tyrell side. And that Maiden of Poisons ambushed in off Harmonular for 2. And I think we're getting an intrigue challenge here, which Mace will most likely block for 7.
Do I give you a card, actually? I don't want to give you options, so I won't force it.
Doesn't want to win. It's because he doesn't want to give another Dorn trigger. So he's going to lose a card here, and the Martell player is going to gain an unopposed power.
I got too many cards for him.
Gets rid of Sir Garland Tyrell there. And he's going to sack to remove icons just to get that that character that was brought in from Flea Bottom back in the discard pile, ready to be used.
Standing?
Okay.
Pretty much.
At this point, no reason.
He hasn't played his Valor yet.
Not yet.
We just said the Tyrell player mentioned that the Martell player has not played a Valor yet, so I don't know which Valor he's referring to, but neither has been played yet. I believe Valar Morghulis is in the Tyrell player's deck, but I'm sure he can win out before that happens, or dupe up enough of his important characters before that happens. So we have Varys Riddle into Confiscation,
Okay.
so that's going to get rid of Venomous Blade, and I think that's the only attachment in play right now that I see. Nothing on locations. It's not the best Varys Riddle hit.
Oh. Yeah, right.
2 cards.
So they missed taxation there. Tyrell player is going to discard down cards. I think that may have been some spectator interference from Adamo's father there, I see on the left, who shouldn't be behind the opponent, should be behind his son, in my opinion. That's right, Tony, you heard that. I'm calling you out. No, I'm just joking. An extra mace. He just discarded a mace to taxation. Think he's okay. We have a Rose Garden played out there for limited. 2 Blood Orange Groves knelt here. He's already got the Dornish Fife to money. And there's that Red Viper, the Intimidator Red Viper we saw earlier get discarded for claim, I believe it was.
Milk on him.
And a Milk on Mace. After the confiscation was played. Could that be the key here? If you had a second one for Renly, maybe, but I think it may be too late, but I could be wrong. I mean, he's got the Old Town Scheming Septon crap going, and oh, that's time called actually. So yeah, it looks like I don't know how the Tyrell player is gonna, or the Martell player is gonna catch up here, but they're gonna finish out this round. So that Red Viper has Intimidate. He gets +1 strength for each power he has, and reaction after you win a challenge in which you control an attacking bastard character, he gains a power. So that makes sense. That's the Viper that makes sense in this deck for sure. And we got March. Another Renown Body on the board with a duplicate. And he can't get to Velardo Harris next round. The Martell player can't, so this is what we got here. And he's just going to go all in here, putting the Scheming Septon on the board.
I forgot to trigger this, but now I trigger it.
And he's going to trigger High Tower there for gold in the card. So I think the Tyrell player only needs 2 power. Pretty sure. Yeah, it looks like he's at 13. Martell player's at 6. Now, here's the thing, though.
No shenanigans for you.
Begging Brother gets put out there with 3 Bestow on him. But here's the thing. Doran's Game. I'm not sure how many use plots he has in the use pile, but I don't see a Doran's Game getting him there. I mean, he does have the Red Viper out there that can get some additional power. He's got Harmony with Renown. He's got Nymeria to steal icons. But you also have to stop the Renown across the board. So we have a military challenge here for 8 from the Red Viper and Harmon Uller. He's going to try some Intimidate tactics here.
Oh, okay.
But I think he should be using Nymeria to steal icons to make that Intimidate really matter. But then again, he might be saving that to see who is left standing with an Intrigue icon, and maybe he can sneak through his Doran's Game. He's just sitting on 1 gold. That gold could be for Flea Bottom. I don't know if he has the event or not. He's already used his Water Gardens. I'm pretty sure. Maybe not. What does he use his Water Gardens on? I'm not sure. He's got it knelt there. But I don't see anything really new in the location front that he would have reduced. I don't see a Venomous Blade. Could be missing something. But maybe he knelt it at the start of the challenges phase to like make sure it was triggered. So we do have Armanular gaining Renown. Who'd he kill? I can't see, but got a Renown on Harmanular. We got some Intimidate taking down Renly. So that's not bad.
Yeah, I've died many times. I'm still here.
Humble brag.
It's hidden under the fence.
All right.
So the Begging Brother out there, he's able to spend gold off of him to cancel character reactions. So Nymeria can be canceled with that. I forgot about that. So, and the Shadow City Bastard can be canceled. Arion can be canceled. I think some of these you can trigger multiple times. They have more than 1 limit. So he's going to remove the icons off left. So he only takes away a military. He's going to Flea Bottom. He's going to steal the Scheming Septon's icons. So what I think he's trying to do is get the Begging Brother to be used. I think he's trying to bait the Begging Brother triggers.
You did not activate this yet.
No.
Michael realizes that. He asked about Nymeria being triggered yet, and it's not, so he wants to save that gold. So Martell player, looks like he's 7 away. I don't know what round we're in here, how many plots have been played, but I'm assuming there's like at least 5 in the use pile of the Martell player. So he canceled that with 1 gold. So Scheming Septon didn't lose any icons.
Intrigue.
So an intrigue for 1.
For 1? Yes.
Right.
Defend for 2.
Okay. Trigger Dorn.
So he does block the intrigue with the Scheming Septon. I think he was trying to win a challenge with a bastard there and maybe trigger the Red Viper. He's trying to burn through those triggers on that Begging Brother, I'm sure. So he gets a Dorn trigger.
Are you done with challenges, or you still got power, right?
Yeah. I'm gonna try stealing Marge's power icon.
Nope.
Yep.
So he tries to take a power icon with Nymeria. That gets canceled right away from the Begging Brother.
What? He hasn't done power yet. Nope.
Damn. Screw it. Power.
Yeah, he's going to do power with Arion. I think that Begging Brother was the key there to shut down any chance the Martell player had here to pull it out.
Defend for 5.
So we got a 5 block off of Mace. And Dorn gets triggered.
Left has no icons, right?
Yeah, no icon. Okay. Go ahead on challenges.
Yeah, I don't see it here. No Dorn's game trigger. So over to the Tyrell player for his challenges. Intrigue off of so a trigger there to cancel. Arion returning back to hand. And Adamo realized that's it. So there we go. Michael's moving on to top 4. So next we got the top 4 games coming up, 2 of them on the channel, and then the final. So stay tuned for that. And feel free to leave comments below if you have any constructive criticism, any questions, or anything like that. Always appreciated. Just leave them down below in the YouTube comments so people watching the video in the future can see them also. But either way, thanks a lot for being here and watching. I'll see you in the next one.